Welcome to MEA's 2021 annual membership meeting, and thank you for joining us on Zoom. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Eagle River District Director David Glines will lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Glines. As your MEA Board President, I would like to welcome all of our MEA members to our virtual annual meeting. As we navigate a different way of meeting with you, we ask for your patience and understanding for any technical issues that we may encounter. We would also like to cover some basic Zoom etiquette and meeting protocols. To cover these topics, I would like to introduce to you MEA CEO Tony Izzo.
Well, hello to our membership, and thank you, President Doyle. It is a pleasure to be with our membership tonight, and even though we can't meet in person, I would like to thank each of our members that are here for being involved in your electric co-op. As President Doyle mentioned, this is our first time holding our annual meeting virtually, so there may be some hiccups here and there, and we appreciate your patience. There are some basic meeting guidelines we would like to cover and some instructions for members who wish to participate. So I have three things I'm going to touch on. The first is Zoom etiquette. First, we're using a Zoom webinar platform for tonight's meeting, which means that the video and audio is limited to the presenters. And I should note that the meeting is also being recorded for those that cannot attend tonight. We will enable audio for members making motions or public comments. Members may raise their hand by pressing the raise hand icon if you are at a computer, or by pressing *9 if you are calling on a phone. Unless a member is making a motion indicated on the agenda, the opportunity for members to speak will be during the member comment portion of the meeting. There will be opportunities for members to vote on motions during the meeting, at which point additional instruction for how to cast your vote will be given. Our annual meeting coordinator will be providing additional instruction in the chat box. For our members online that have questions, you can utilize the Q&A box during the meeting. The second item is making motions. If members would like to make a motion, that opportunity will be provided during the member comments portion of the meeting and as prompted by President Doyle. Further instructions will be provided for any members that would like to make a motion. And the next item is registration. Just like during our in-person meeting, registration for this meeting will close at 6:10 p.m. and all members who have registered and are in attendance tonight will receive a $10 bill credit. Registered and attending members will also be entered to win door prizes, which will be drawn at the end of the meeting. And members do need to be present to win door prizes. Finally, just last item is that for questions, our members online, if you have questions, just please utilize the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen.
Thank you, Tony. With us this evening is your board of directors. Peter Bursell is our vice president and director at large. Bill Kindig, secretary treasurer, director representing Susitna West District. David Glines, director representing the Eagle River District. Kit Jones, director at large. Mark Masteller, director representing the Matanuska District. And Dan Tucker, director at large. I'm Bob Doyle, your board president, and also the director representing the Susitna East District. Also joining us this evening is our board counsel, Tony Guerra, representing and serving as our parliamentarian, and Don Baham is serving as our recording secretary. For certification of quorum, a quorum is at least 50 members that are required to conduct business at our annual meeting. A quorum of 289 are present. Members were registered at this meeting upon convening. The next item of business is the approval of the agenda. If you are offering a motion, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand icon if you're at a computer, or by pressing *9 if you're calling on the phone. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. President, this is Michael Ravito. I move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Michael. Is there a second?
There is a second from Arthur Keys.
There's a second by Arthur Keys. The motion is to approve the agenda. Due to limitations with Zoom, we are only voting by objection, which is allowed according to Robert's rules. Are there any objections to this motion? If so, raise your hand by pressing the raise hand icon if you're at the computer, or by pressing *9 if you are calling on phone.
We have no opposition.
There were no objections. The motion to approve the agenda has been passed. Secretary Treasurer Bill Kindig will now read the certification that noticed our MEA's 2021 annual meeting that was mailed to each member.
Notice is hereby given pursuant to Article 3, Sections 1 and 3 of the bylaws of the Matanuska Electric Association, Inc., that the annual membership meeting of this association will be held on Tuesday, the 27th of April, 2021, virtually at 6 p.m., dated at Palmer, Alaska, this 15th day of March, 2021.
Thank you, Bill. MEA's bylaws require reading of draft minutes of the previous meeting of the members unless the members vote to dispense with such reading. Because we did not have an annual meeting in 2020, this year's meeting minutes would include the certification of the 2020 election special meeting minutes and the board resolution to cancel the 2020 annual meeting due to the COVID-19 gathering guidelines. Do I hear a motion to dispense with the reading and to approve the 2020 annual membership meeting as drafted?
Mr. President, this is Michael Ravito again. I move to dispense with the reading and to approve the 2020 annual membership meeting minutes as drafted.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Member Stu Graham.
Okay, thank you, Stu. There's been a second. The motion to approve the minutes and dispense with the readings has been moved and seconded. And as a reminder, due to the limitations of Zoom, we are only voting by objection. Are there any objections to this motion? Please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand icon if you're at a computer, or by pressing *9 if you're calling on the phone. The motion was to approve the minutes.
We have one opposed.
We have one opposed. The motion hereby passes, and the vote would be 288 to 1. Thank you. All right, now it's time for my report with MEA's Chief Executive Officer, Tony Izzo. Our presentation was pre-recorded, and we invite you to watch it with us now.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Tony Izzo, the CEO of Matanuska Electric Association. I'd like to share with you some great accomplishments your electric co-op achieved last year, despite all of the challenges. I'm proud of our team's ability to stay focused on our health and safety while providing you with seamless power through a global pandemic. But before I go into some highlights of 2020, I'd like to introduce our MEA Board of Directors President, Bob Doyle.
Thanks, Tony. I'm Bob Doyle. 2020 was certainly a memorable year for all of us.
and I'm pleased we remain focused on mission-critical priorities that are important to our members, including progress on our strategic plan, stable and even reduced rates, and collaboration with other utilities to create opportunities for improved cost and reliability of electrical power. Tony and I look forward to sharing with you in this presentation our future priorities and plans for MEA.
Early last year, an intense virus inevitably made its way to our state and our community. Despite so many unknowns and constant changes, we took many steps at MEA to ensure the health and safety of our employees so we could continue to provide reliable power to our members without a major disruption in service. We also worked to keep our members safe by implementing health and safety standards in our offices and lobbies and increasing sanitization and cleanings of our public spaces.
In the fall of 2020, we partnered with the local governments, including the cities of Wasilla and Palmer, the Mat-Su Borough, and the municipality of Anchorage, to receive more than $362,000 in CARES Act funding for our members. The MEA Board thanks these agencies who provided great assistance to our members. That funding not only helped individual members during a time of great need, but also assisted the entire membership by preventing higher rates due to unpaid debts.
In 2020, we continued to move projects forward that would keep pace with our energy demands of our quickly growing service territory. This included updating the Herning substation near downtown Wasilla to support the significant growth we've seen in the core downtown Wasilla area. This project is expected to be completed this summer. In addition, we converted some smaller single-phase power lines to larger three-phase lines in areas that needed more power. We also launched a study to tackle additional infrastructure needs for one of the fastest growing areas in our service territory, just north of Palmer and Wasilla core areas. We are working with members in the study area to determine route options for a transmission line and sites for two substations between Fishhook and Pittman. We hope to have our routing and siting study completed this fall. There is information on our website if you are interested in learning more.
The Mat-Su area continues to be one of the fastest growing regions in the state of Alaska. Over the past few years, we've been adding, on average, 1,100 new services every year. MEA's engineering and operations departments work closely with builders and members to help them complete their power construction projects more quickly and with fewer frustrations. We will continue to improve our efficiency so that members can easily access and receive power throughout our service area.
Adjusting our member service operations while not compromising our quality of member service was a major priority in 2020 as we navigated doing business in a different way under COVID safety guidelines. We were pleased to see that our members rated our overall level of member service higher than ever last year in our 2020 annual membership survey. We added extra phone support to our member service and frequently updated our website and social media with information for members on how they could utilize contactless options to manage their accounts. We continue to investigate new ways to meet your needs. If you have ideas on how we could serve you better, please let us know.
Over the years, we have learned that consistent vegetation management and clearing of easements greatly improves power reliability for our members. In addition to clearing activities in the communities of Willow, Caswell Lakes, Wasilla, Chugiak, Peters Creek, Sutton, and Glacier View, our crews also worked to clear more than 7,500 danger trees in 2020. Part of these danger trees came from the highly infested spruce bark beetle kill area near Willow Fishhook. Crews continue to respond to danger tree reports from members year-round, and members can now file a danger tree report directly on our website.
Last fall, the sale of MLMP to Chugach Electric was finalized, and that purchase provided some great benefits to MEA members. First, we increased our share of cheaper hydro resources from Eklutna Hydro. In addition, we received some assets that will reduce the cost of delivering power to our members. We have already started to see the benefits of the MLMP sale in our rates, specifically with reductions to our cost of power adjustment rate that includes the cost of fuel and purchase power. We will continue to work on some of the other items of the sale, including the formation of a required contractual relationship with Chugach Electric to share our generation resources for the benefits of all members.
In addition to the increased access to Eklutna Hydro, MEA worked with the other interconnected utilities to expand the Bradley Lake Hydro project by diverting Battle Creek into the reservoir to increase the amount of water that can be used. This project will increase the opportunity for our members to access more affordable, stable, and renewable energy. MEA also worked with independent power producers to add other forms of renewable power to our grid. This year, it includes additional solar power in Willow, as well as a runoff river hydro project in Eagle River that will produce power without a dam.
Through our leadership of the Bradley Project Management Committee, MEA also tackled a critical project to make sure the cost-effective renewable hydropower from Bradley Lake can be delivered to our members more efficiently. We worked closely with the Alaska Energy Authority and other utilities to secure a critical section of the transmission line that brings the power from the Kenai Peninsula to each of you and beyond. This was the section of line that was impacted by the Swan Lake fire in 2019, costing ratepayers along the interconnected grid over $10 million as we had to replace cheap hydro with more expensive thermal generation until the line was repaired. Alaska Energy Authority now owns that section of line and can ensure it will always be available to serve Alaskans.
Another critical achievement this year was making big strides in how we work together with the other utilities along the interconnected system we call the Rail Belt. In collaboration with those utilities along with other stakeholders like the state of Alaska, the independent power producers, consumer advocacy groups, and others, MEA worked hard in Juneau to pass Senate Bill 123, which mandated the development of an electric reliability organization. This organization will manage and enforce system reliability, as well as conduct joint planning of new transmission and generation resources. We spent the past year starting to form one of these organizations with a group of other utilities and stakeholders, and we plan to apply to the Regulatory Commission of Alaska.
Another goal MEA staff has been working toward is improving our communication with members. We know our membership has diverse needs when it comes to communication. Last year, we started our website redesign project to improve how members navigate and interact with our site, especially for members looking to conduct quick transactions on their mobile device. We launched our new website with improved access and features in February of this year. We also know from our membership survey that email is the top choice for our members when it comes to getting information about their electric co-op. This year we began sending monthly member email updates, and we'll be sending out the Print Power Lines newsletter on a quarterly basis to help reduce our use of paper and associated costs. We hope to offer members additional communication options, including text notifications for power outages and bill payment reminders in the near future. We frequently look at how our rates compare to other electric utilities along the rail belt. As of April 1st of this year, MEA still offers the lowest base rate, also called the energy charge, at 12.4 cents per kilowatt hour. It's important to note that when the sale of MLMP to Chugach was completed last fall, the rates were maintained for those MLMP customers now referred to as the Chugach North District. They continue to benefit from one of the cheapest gas sources in the state and currently have the cheapest overall power at just over 17 cents per kilowatt hour. MEA's current overall charge is roughly 19 cents per kilowatt hour, about a half-cent less compared to the same quarter last year, and cheaper than many other state averages in other northern or islanded systems. As the cost of what it takes to deliver power to your home or business increases, keeping rates stable with some additional decreases has been a great accomplishment of our board and staff.
As a member-owned co-op, it's important for our members to easily understand how we generate revenue to cover the costs to produce and provide power. We've broken down the source of revenue for each dollar earned in 2020. As you can see, roughly 63 cents came from residential electric sales, 36 cents came from commercial sales, and over 1 cent came from lighting and other sales. Looking at how $1 was spent, 35 cents covered the cost of fuel and purchase power, which is also our co-op's largest expense. It's also worth noting that this cost is down nearly a cent from the previous year, thanks to the renegotiation of our gas contract with Cook Inlet's only major supplier, Hillcorp. Depreciation costs roughly 15 cents and nearly 13 cents for interest on long-term debt. Almost 11 cents covers the cost to maintain and operate our electrical lines. 8 cents covers the cost to produce power. Roughly 8 cents also provides our margins. Only 7.5 cents was spent on employee and administrative costs, and nearly 3 cents covered all other expenses at the co-op.
We'd like to take a moment to share the 2020 balance sheet, including our assets, equities, and liabilities, revenue, and patronage capital. If you want a closer look, all of this information is on our annual report. If you want to do a deeper dive, any member can request financials of the organization at any time.
One program we continue to be proud of year after year is MEA's Operation Roundup program, which allows members to round up their bills to the nearest dollar to support local community organizations. Operation Roundup is now celebrating 10 years of giving in our service area. To provide us with an update of the program is Angela Hobby, board member with the MEA Charitable Foundation.
Hello, my name is Angela Hobby, and I have the privilege of speaking to you today on behalf of the MEA Charitable Foundation Board. Just as a picture taken of our breathtaking Alaskan scenery never seems to do justice to the image in real time, my attempt at summing up just how impactful your Roundup dollars have been over the years won't even begin to paint the picture of the lasting change you've made across our community. Because of MEA's Operation Roundup program, you were able to pour back into our community over $200,000 across 26 different local organizations just in this past year. And as we all know, 2020 was a year in which our community needed you most. Organizations like our Valley's Seniors, Recreation, Local Agricultural, Family Services, Food Pantries, and many other community resource organizations. And all of this was in the matter of just 1 year. Since Operation Roundup's beginning in 2011, MEA customers have given back an all-time grand total of more than $1.5 million. It's because of generous hearts like yours that together our fingerprints will be seen for years to come. On behalf of the MEA Charitable Foundation, we thank you.
Thanks, Angela, and thank you again for all of our members who participate in the Operation Roundup program. Your support has made a huge difference for so many of our members.
Education is very important to our membership. So in addition to charitable foundation giving and our sponsorship donations, each year our scholarship foundation provides 3 major scholarships to students and learners in our service territory. Here are this year's 2021 scholarship winners. Congratulations, and we wish you success in your future education endeavors. Last year, the board continued to work on the co-op's 5 to 10 year strategic plan and laying the groundwork to continue to provide reliable and affordable power for our members for the next 80 years and beyond. We also set our priorities for this year that I would like to share with you. Our 2021 priorities include maintaining strong health and safety standards for employees and members, engaging with members in a more meaningful way, implementing a carbon reduction strategy while maintaining high reliability and reasonable rates.
We are also working with utilities and others to implement strategies that will reduce costs, share resources, integrate innovation, and plan for the future. We will continue to stabilize rates and investigate rate structures that provide member choice. And we will prioritize vegetation management and system upgrades to maintain our focus on reliable and affordable power. Some of these strategic priorities will need discussion and direction from our members. We plan to hold listening sessions, focus groups, and other ways to make sure our members are heard on how you would like your electrical co-op to evolve in the coming years. Be sure to check your member emails and online for how you can be involved with the planning and direction of your co-op.
We will continue to update our members on the progress of our strategic goals and initiatives. We invite you to share any feedback or ideas on how we can improve our services and options for members. This concludes our CEO and board presentation. We will now go back to the live annual meeting.
Okay, at this point, I would like to introduce our election overseer, Crystal Stanley from Fosselman and Associates, who will now provide the membership a report on the 2021 election procedures.
Good evening. So I am Crystal Stanley with Fosselman and Associates CPAs. We serve as MEA's independent election overseer. In fulfilling this role, we perform several procedures to maintain strict control over the paper ballots and the electronic voting. On March 11th, 2021, we received 27,925 blank ballots from Printworks. We verified the number of ballots received by weighing them, and we also tested the sequencing of the candidates' names on a sampling of the ballots. The ballots were then turned over to the mailing house. On March 26, 2021, we tested the election packages before they were mailed by counting the packages in a sample of the bins, counting the total number of bins, and estimating the amount to be mailed. We counted the electronic material notification cards to be mailed in total. We also took possession of the rest of the unused ballots, which were locked up in our office. We were able to verify 27,716 ballots, and 1,213 notification cards were delivered to and mailed by the post office. Starting March 30th through April 26th, our staff picked up ballots at the post office, oversaw the signature verification process, turned off electronic voting for the members who voted on paper, and secured the ballots in a locked closet at our office. This year, we had a short period of online voting downtime. Online voting was unavailable from late Friday, April 9th through Wednesday, April 14th, due to the electronic voting vendor system being down as a precautionary measure following a security threat to their system. Based on their thorough response and investigation, I am confident the integrity of the election and member information remained intact. Online voting was brought back up, with members still having 12 days available to cast their vote online prior to the close of the election yesterday at 5 p.m. And even with the unplanned outage, the number of days provided for members to vote was consistent with previous elections. This morning, under dual control, we took the ballots out of the secured closet and brought them to our conference room, where the counting of paper ballots was performed and observed by the election committee. These ballots were then placed back into the secured closet, finalizing the procedures for this year's election. I want to thank all of the members that participated in this year's election and the election committee for all of their donated time. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. And now I'd like to introduce the election committee chair, Carrie Klein, who will now provide the election committee report.
Good evening. My name is Carrie Klein, and I, along with 5 others, make up the MEA Election Committee, where we represent you. The election committee is a requirement of the MEA bylaws, and we serve as member representatives to see that our election is fair, transparent, and conducted according to the bylaws. We are your eyes, your ears, and your voice regarding the election. This year, the committee completed a few tasks to improve our procedures. We sent out an RFP for the election overseer contract, a process undertaken periodically to ensure that the services we are receiving are in line with industry standards. We also worked diligently to increase the convenience of online voting by adding the capability of voting through the Smart Hub app. If you ever have any suggestions that could improve the election process, please don't hesitate to reach out to the election committee. If you'd like to step up your involvement, we currently have an opening in our committee, so contact MEA if you might be interested in serving your co-op in this manner. We also had our usual election business to attend to. We approved the election materials as well as the candidate application. We confirmed our candidates met the requirements necessary to serve on the MEA Board of Directors. To ensure the integrity of the 2021 election, we helped the election overseer to verify signatures on the ballots that were cast, and we were present for the ballot count. I can attest that this election was completed accurately, in accordance to the bylaws, and in an unbiased and transparent manner. I'd like to thank the MEA staff for a job well done, and our election overseer, Fosselman and Associates, for their steady professional guidance. And thank you for participating in your co-op by voting.
Thank you. And I would like to now invite the election committee chair, Carrie Klein, to read the preliminary election results.
Members of the co-op, directors of the board, and employees, it's my privilege to deliver the preliminary results of the 2021 MEA election. Total votes counted for both both Matanuska and Eagle River voting districts is 3,492. Of these votes, 2,610 were by mail and 882 were electronic. The voting tallies are as follows. For the Matanuska district seat, Mark Masteller, incumbent, 1,433 votes, 75%. Brandy Burchett, 469 votes, 25%. For the Eagle River district, Mark Ham, 420 votes, 27%. Dan Floden, 389 votes for 25%. Jackie Ensley, 366 votes, 24%. Stephanie Jeffers, 252 votes, 16%. And Don Liston, 104 votes, 7%. A total of 59 votes were received with no candidates selected. These are preliminary election results for the 2021 MEA election.
Thank you, Carrie. And for the members, there will be a special meeting on Monday, May 10th at 3 p.m. at the Palmer headquarters for the current board to certify these election results. We would like to now announce the winner of the 10,000 kilowatts of electricity from our members who voted in the election. Members in the Matanuska or Eagle River District could vote in this election, and every member that voted, whether by paper or online, was entered to win this grand prize, a year of free electricity or up to 10,000 kilowatts, whichever comes first. Because this is a voting prize, the winner does not need to be present. And the winner of the year for this electricity is Peter and Judy Skorup of the Matanuska District. Congratulations. Okay, I'd like to announce at this point there are no unfinished business items from 2020, and there is no new business to be brought before the body at this time. We're ready for member comments, and I'll talk about that as we just continue our meeting. Our last business item of the meeting is member comments, and if you wish to be heard, please raise your hand by pressing the raise hand icon if you are at a computer, or by pressing *9 if you're calling on the phone. Our annual meeting coordinator will enable your Zoom speaking capabilities when it is your turn to speak. When instructed, please provide your first and last name for the record, and then you can provide your comments, which are limited to 3 minutes. And I will announce at the end of the about 2 minutes and 50 seconds that you've got 10 seconds left. If you would like to submit your member comment and have it read on the record by our coordinator, you can submit it in the Q&A box. Please indicate that you would like this to be read and that you would not like to speak. I will note that we will not read any comments with profanity or any inappropriate language. Sabrina, do we have any member comments?
Yes, we do. First is member Stu Graham. Please unmute, and it is your turn on the floor. Member Stu Graham, I have clicked ask to unmute, so you'll just need to unmute and you may speak. Okay. Oh,
I have no comment. I don't know how my name got on the list. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Next member is Chuck Kauchik, and I'm sorry if I am mispronouncing your name. And next will be Robert Trout. So if you just be ready. First, Chuck Kauchik, I have asked you to unmute. Go for it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. What has MEA done to prepare for a potential EMP event?
Mr. Kausic, this is Tony Izzo from Matanuska Electric. Matanuska Electric is connected in with a number of federal authorities, including FERC, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission,
right,
Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, as well as something called EISAC. I believe, as the CEO, we are a leader in terms of cybersecurity, which we often say, but it really means cyber and physical security. We are in the process of preparing for a number of things that include what you mentioned, most of which are things that for confidentiality purposes, we don't talk about because we don't want to point bad actors towards what they might see as opportunities. With that, I would be happy to have a member of staff get back to you and talk about it in more detail.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you. Member Robert Trout, I see you're on the phone, so you will need to press *6 to unmute. *9 is to raise hand. Mr. Robert Trout. You'll just need to press *6 from your phone to unmute. All right, Mr. Trout, we will come back to you. Next, we have Stephen Sperger. Just please hit unmute and you may have the floor. Stephen Sperger.
Well, I had a question about hydropower and additional hydropower. Is that possible on the Susitna or another river?
Mr. Sperger, this is Tony Izzo, the CEO. Matanuska Electric has focused its recent hydro efforts at expansion of Bradley Lake. It's the largest hydro facility in the state at 120 megawatts. We're also in the process of expanding and improving the transmission lines to ensure greater reliability that brings that power north to all of the utilities from Anchorage to Fairbanks. We have a number of run-of-the-river hydro projects that are privately owned, but we're very proud of. We also, through the sale of municipal light and power to Chugach Electric, negotiated and obtained, we essentially doubled our share of the lowest cost power in the rail belt or on the grid at Eklutna Hydro. We do not have any other plans regarding hydro projects. We work with our other neighboring utilities on those kinds of projects. I think you mentioned Susitna-Wautanah specifically, and I would just state that that is a project that is much, much larger than any one utility and would have to be something that would come from the state of Alaska, for example, as in an effort to whether it be meet carbon reduction goals or renewable goals, et cetera. But I'm not aware of any efforts in that regard either. I hope that helped. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have member Colleen Fisk. If you can please unmute Colleen Fisk.
Thank you, Sabrina. Yes, my name is Colleen Fisk, and I am an electric vehicle owner along with my partner. We have 2 electric vehicles. I am, a little bit dismayed about the lack of electric vehicle charging stations within the Mat-Su Valley, especially not at the Matanuska Electric Association building. And I'm wondering, what are your plans for including more charging stations within our region, especially with the Volkswagen settlement money coming forward? And what interest have you seen from other members for this? Thank you.
Ms. Fisk, again, Tony Izzo. I think that the response to that question is that at our May 10th regular monthly board meeting, I have just today added to that agenda an item to update the board as well as the general public on developments around electric vehicle build out of infrastructure like level 3 chargers. We're seeing some very optimistic news coming from Alaska Energy Authority regarding the Volkswagen money finally getting close to being released, as well as discussions with private sector businesses that seem to be interested. So it's a topic that I would enjoy talking about for quite a bit of time. But what I would propose is that either myself or a staff member get back to you with some additional details and more details will be coming out to the membership in the coming weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Izzo.
Also, I will note that the board did approve a level 2 charging pilot program within our carbon reduction resolution that was passed last month. So again, there'll be more to come, and we're very excited about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's try once more for Robert Trout. To unmute your phone, please hit *6. Mr. Trout, you are on.
Yes, I had a similar comment. I had to go out for a minute. That's why I couldn't hear the first part of it. But my comment is, like Tony said about the Susitna Hydro project, it has to be a statewide from the state. And I've got a couple emails to Governor Dunleavy regarding that. And why can't we get some money from the permanent fund principal to pay for it, and then we'll, by the vote of the people in the permanent fund, and that way it'll benefit the whole state from Fairbanks all the way down to the Kenai Peninsula. And we'd have cheaper power, and we wouldn't have to worry about running out of natural gas at the Beluga for our Eklutna MEA plant there. So that's my comment. We do need to explore statewide the Susitna Hydro plant, or dam, and have it as a recreational opportunity. It's a win-win-win situation there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Appreciate comments from our members.
All right, we have 2 written comments. The first is from member Chris Eckert. The question is, for members with solar power systems on net metering, can the net usage be calculated on an annual basis and not a monthly basis?
Mr. Eckert, Tony Izzo, again, I think of all the questions, I am going to have to get back to you with that one. It seems to me to be a simple question. And if the answer is not yes, I need to know more so that I can get back to you with an answer as to why.
Thank you. Another written question from member Leonard Wallner. Tree clearing question. My father, Leonard Wallner Sr., has several dead pine trees jeopardizing power lines along his property line. I called this in early last summer. Roughly 2 months later, a clearing crew representative stopped by to examine the problem, said the crew would be back to deal with the matter, and we never heard from them again. Bottom line, the problems still persist. Last, big time congratulations to Pete and Judy Skorup.
Thank you, Mr. Wallner. Well, that's very concerning to me. We have been very proactive at MEA regarding the removal of trees, not only within our right-of-way, with a very prudent clearing program that operates on a 6-7 year cycle, but we remove trees that could fall into our power lines that sit on private property if the property owner contacts us. So I'm going to personally look into this, and someone will be back to you in the next day or 2 at the most. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have member Jessica Ortiz. Jessica, if you can unmute, you have the floor.
This is Jason Ortiz. My wife's here with me. I just wanted to ask questions about solar. I know you guys touched on it. You touched on a little bit about that, Tony, but is there plans for MEA to expand any options to capture some solar energy more? It seems like we could be useful. And the other thing I was just going to say is congratulations to Sabrina. I got to witness her earlier today winning a pretty cool Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thanks.
Well, Mr. Ortiz, thank you, and congratulations, Sabrina. That almost made me forget your question about the additional solar.
Solar.
Solar, yes. And I would let you know that we are working with potential providers on all forms of renewable energy because, as President Doyle indicated earlier, our largest expense each year is the cost of fuel. And fuel is a pass-through. Utilities are not allowed to mark it up. We don't profit on the cost of fuel. It's something that we're always striving to reduce. Just a few years ago, I saw it at 50%. Now I'm pleased to see it at 35 cents, but that's still very high compared to national averages. So we are looking at things like solar. We have the largest solar farm in the state at 1.2 megawatts. We are looking at a couple of different potential projects that are much larger in size. And beyond that, I would be getting into non-disclosure agreements in terms of the various parties that we're negotiating with. But we encourage any of those types of developments and look forward to working with our members who are facilitating such. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a question from member Lisa Harrison. What is MEA doing to encourage members to convert to solar power?
Yes, to convert to solar power, the utilities are required by a state statute to provide up to 1.5% of our annual load for those that wish to net meter. At MEA, I'm very pleased and proud to report that the Matanuska Electric Board has set no threshold beyond that. The primary concern is that as members who benefit by installing solar or something that costs less, the rest of the membership picks up the overall cost. And so if, for example, we had half our membership convert to solar, rates would rise for the other half. And so it's a very delicate balance that we work through with the Regulatory Commission. We work through to ensure that rates in no way are subsidized by any other group. And so the primary benefit is the reduced cost for the member that makes that investment, and the fact that we do not add any additional cost for the member that goes to solar, for the fact that they're still connected to the grid. We're still providing generation, transmission, and distribution. In the event that your own power source goes down, there's a cost associated with that. So it's a balance. I think we are one of the best in the state in regards to not having a cap, and it's essentially all members that wish to take advantage of net metering benefits are welcome to do so for the foreseeable future. Thank you.
The next, before I read, just a reminder, if you have a question, you may raise your virtual hand if you are on Zoom. If you are on the phone, you may dial *9 to raise your virtual hand, or you can type it in the question and answer box. The next question is from member Dixie Banner. I would like to know if long-term members will be paid MEA dividends. Also, work with the state regulatory division to be more transparent with their proceedings with the public. Regulatory tax increases are approved with limited public notices or outreach. Marketing is extremely limited. The question, I'm sorry for that, was I would like to know if long-term members will be paid MEA dividends.
Yes. The simple answer is yes. Following the construction of our power generation facility 6 years ago, it came online. The Matanuska Electric Board has developed an equity management plan that is focused on growing equity, keeping rates low, and reliability. Part of that includes specifically the payment of capital credits. We reinstituted that a year or so early, a couple years back, with retirement to estates. And the equity management plan includes a provision that 2 years from now, those will actually be doubled from a 1% retirement to a 2% retirement. And as your CEO, I see no reason that that won't occur. I can't predict with any certainty what's going to happen with the economy, but I can tell you your utility is doing very well. On the regulatory charge, I would say thank you for the comments, and I would agree.
Thank you. The next is a comment from member Mark Kelleher. Said, good question, Ms. Fisk. EV charging is paramount to update for both level 3 DC fast charging and level 2 charging. EV ownership has increased almost 100% in the last year, 1,570 as of April 1st, 2021. A level 3 charging rate would be extremely beneficial to the growth in MEA's area. Increased EV charging will drive more vehicles and more at-home charging, where off-peak rates could help increase the efficiencies of the system.
In response to the comment, thank you. We are working on a regulatory filing as a regulated utility. Matanuska Electric and its board can determine that rates should change, but that has to be approved then by the Regulatory Commission of Alaska. We will be reviewing on our May 10th regular monthly meeting our status with the level 3 charging tariff rate development. I'm very excited about it. I think the public will be equally excited about it. I would anticipate by the time it gets to the Regulatory Commission, you're probably looking at the next 30 to 60 days, and it will be a rate based specifically on EV fast charging. So you can assume, although that MEA has the lowest demand charge in the rail belt by almost half of our neighboring utilities, that this would be an improvement in that rate. So stand by, there'll be some news coming soon.
Thank you. The next is a question from member Christopher Lubkin. I am a new member in Eagle River as I purchased a house there in June of 2020. I appreciate the reliable power that I have had for almost a year now. I am possibly interested in getting my electrical bill stabilized from the higher cost in the winter. When checking out the website, it mentioned that I can only take advantage of this if I have been in my home from May to May. So do I need to wait almost another year before taking advantage of that option?
I believe the answer is yes, and I would suggest calling our member services office, and which is the primary number, to see if there isn't something that we can arrange there. But I do believe we do need the full 12 months for that budget billing to be in place or put into place. And thank you for becoming a member.
The next question is from member Amy Walker. Last year, the tree clearing crew tore up the easement, a trail, and trees that were unnecessary for removal. How often will this tree clearing be done?
Our tree clearing program is approximately 7-year program where we will come back through. If this is an area that had not been cleared for some time, it was likely more aggressive than it will be in the future. So approximately every 7 years, once it is an area has been cleared, it's more of a maintenance operation to come through, and you should not see any additional aggressive clearing unless something specifically happens, a tree grows into a line or in our right of way.
Next, we have member Allison Clark. If you can unmute your microphone, you have the floor. Allison Clark. Member Allison Clark, you are able to speak if you can unmute your microphone. Okay. At that, we have no more questions in the chat. We did get several accolades for being able to hold this by Zoom. Oh, we have one more, I'm sorry. Member Lydia Hoos asks, who will pay for it if MEA increases their EV charging stations?
Well, Ms. Hoos, the benefit of the charging stations, first of all, it will be paid for by the user. So the member or EV vehicle owner who is charging at that station would pay whatever the cost is. So if there's a concern about a subsidy or cross subsidy, there will be no such thing. I'd also like to mention that the Matanuska Electric Board recently approved, in going forward, we will be developing time of use rates. So in addition to the level 3 charging I mentioned, talked about charging stations being installed in Volkswagen monies, that for those folks with level 2 chargers that are charging at home, I anticipate that based on the calculations, that will be a lower cost or a lower rate for charging during certain periods, probably in the evenings. Think about it in terms of like midnight to 5 a.m. or 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., something like that. And again, there would be no such subsidy. In fact, what we're doing is we're taking the benefit of that additional charging, that additional load during our lowest period of usage. It's levelizing out the demand. And as a result, it benefits all members. And for those that are actually doing the charging, it does warrant a reduction, some form of reduction in the rate. So it's really a win-win. The other thought might be that there may be a host site where a level 3 charging station is installed, and it might be, let's say it's in Chugiak or somewhere along the Parks Highway. The host is likely to pay the bill to Matanuska Electric, and those using the charging service would pay that host. Thank you.
Next, we have member Donna Prater. Donna, you are on the phone, so please press *6 to unmute. Donna Prater.
Yes, are there any rules at all about parking under the right-of-way or one of the power lines, or storing items underneath lines? Because in a couple of subdivisions that I've been in lately, there's so many vehicles and private storage stuff underneath lines. And I just thought, are there any rules about that?
Thank you for the question. It's generally not something that we would like to see as a result of potential safety. It is, although it's, we require, what MEA and other utilities require is unobstructed access. And so temporary structures that can be moved are allowed. Vehicle could be parked in the right of way as long as we would be able to get to, let's say it's an adjacent structure, a homeowner that could move it should we need access. The other concern I would have is you certainly would not want any large vehicle with a boom on it, for example, that might get up into the lines if for some reason that boom were raised. Thank you, though, for the question.
Yeah. Thank you.
With that, we have no further member comments.
Thank you, Sabrina. Now we're ready for what everybody's been waiting for. At this time, we're ready to announce our door prize winners drawn from registered members who are present now at this meeting. Tony, will you help me announce our 2021 annual meeting prize winners?
Sure. Prize number 1 is our first prize. It includes a 2000 Ford Expedition from our retired MEA fleet. It's valued at $3,075. This is often referred to as the beater truck. And the member that has won that prize is Carissa Jones. Congratulations to Carissa Jones. Prize number 2, our second prize includes a generator valued at $500. The member that won this prize is Stephen Leishman or Leichman. I apologize for one of those mispronounced names. I hope one of them, at least 50-50 on that one. Mr. Leishman, Stephen Leishman, congratulations. Our third and final prize includes a gift basket of goods from our local providers, local businesses, and members. It's valued at $300. The member that has won this prize is Paul Shadura III. Congratulations. One more item to mention before we adjourn is that tomorrow MEA is hosting a Zoom meeting with members on carbon reduction to continue our discussion on this topic. You can find the Zoom meeting information on our website at www.mea.coop, C-O-O-P.
And with that, our meeting is concluded. I'll now entertain a motion to adjourn. If you are offering a motion, please raise your hand by pressing raise hand icon if you're at the computer, or by pressing *9 if you're calling on the phone.
Mr. President, this is Michael Ravito. I move to adjourn the meeting.
Is there a second?
Member David Dom seconds.
The motion is to adjourn, and then final reminder, we are only voting by objection. Are there any objections to this motion? Please raise your hand by pressing raise hand icon if you're at the computer, or by pressing *9 if you're calling on phone.
We have one objection.
Having one objection, and our, as we've said before, our quorum was 289. So the meeting is now adjourned by a vote of 288 to 1. Thank you for joining us this evening. Please be safe and healthy. And we hope to see you, we really do, in person next year at our annual meeting in 2022.